Hello everyone and welcome to this amazing venue. I feel like I'm introducing like an art house film that I've done in my spare time. But we are here for a much more exciting reason. We are here on a very exciting day for Greater Manchester, and I would actually argue for the country, because yet again it is left to Greater Manchester to really blaze a trail for the first time on an incredibly important issue. Something that is going to speak to the aspirations of all of our residents. It's going to speak to businesses and employers. It's going to speak to our amazing educational institutions, our training providers. And really it's going to speak to the world and say Greater Manchester is a place you can come and do business. You can come and have confidence in its future, because we are investing in our people like no other place in this country. Let me introduce myself. I'm Councillor Eamon O'Brien. I'm the leader of Bury Council and I'm the Greater Manchester lead on skills. And it's been my enormous pleasure since taking on that role to participate and support the negotiations with government through the Devolution Trailblazer deal in order to deliver an agreement on an integrated technical education system. And what today is about is that first look at what that really means. But it's the start of a conversation. It's not the end of it. And we want all of you to be part of that conversation. So today is about us sharing our vision for what an integrated technical education system really means, what it means to our schools and colleges, what it means to employers, and really actually what it means to everybody who is thinking about upskilling themselves, learning and contributing to our amazing city region by developing their skills. It's quite a simple idea, dare I say it. Not always simple to do, but it's a simple idea and at the same time quite radical. We will be the first in the country to really develop our understanding and put in practice a different way of looking at skills, particularly around technical education. And we will hear from a range of speakers today, including the Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, about what this will mean for our city region. So I'm not going to say too much now, because they will far better than I can explain and unpack the idea and help start that conversation, which, as I say, is starting today, but we're going to continue it on all the way till next year, really, when we really officially launch what this properly looks like in practice. And so, as I say, we are excited to be here at this point. It has took a long time, and it's somewhat remarkable that we're actually having to highlight the fact that we're taking technical education seriously. You know, this is a long-standing issue that has not been dealt with over multiple generations, over multiple administrations, and it is taking devolution for this to be really put where it needs to be, which is right at the heart of our plans for a good economy, for good lives, and for the best lives for all of our residents. So I'm going to hand over now to Emma Holt, who is our new Greater Manchester Chamber of Commerce President. And it's great to hear from Emma and the businesses that she represents, because we want to impress upon everybody here that this isn't some sort of public sector kind of reorganisation. This is something that has buy-in right across the city region and will only work when we have employers and businesses fundamentally as part of that approach. So it's great to have Emma here. So without further ado, Emma.
Hello everyone, it's great to be here. It's really exciting to be part of this start of a conversation about how GM thrives to be an integrated technical education, skills and work city region. Today the Mayor is announcing news about the M Baccalaureate, and it's so important that there is a credible, attractive and informed choice available to under 16s and to their parents and teachers in relation to vocational and technical options, and that there are equal paths for young people into vocational, technical and academic routes. One area that's threaded through the devolution deal is that around a theme that's already so important, but during my term as president of Greater Manchester Chamber of Commerce will become more so, that of skills. The Mayor is setting out his ambitions for an integrated technical education, skills and work system for GM. And with the work being led by the Chamber in putting the GM Local Skills Improvement Plan together, which will influence this, as businesses in GM, we have the possibility to get a new skills system, a better skills system, and one that truly meets demand. And this opportunity has never been greater. The Greater Manchester Local Skills Improvement Plan, or LSIP, has been a major piece of work commissioned by the Department of Education and designed to ensure that what employers need as regards skills are accurately identified and can be addressed by providers. The work was started before the devolution deal, but it will become an integral part of the work going forward. So let's have a look at some of the data. So the GM LSIP is ensuring employers have a voice. But here in GM, we're ensuring that they also play their part. Because if we want to truly integrate, then we must all participate. And for employers, this means a less passive relationship with the education, skills and work system. So what have employers been telling us? Well, 3,000 businesses have been surveyed, and this is some of the information that we have received. Over 2/3 of businesses reported difficulties when recruiting. Just over 1/3 said they had most difficulty recruiting for skilled and technical roles. Just under 1/3 had most difficulty in recruiting for managerial roles. Half reported candidates who lacked the specialist skills and knowledge to perform the role they were being recruited for or applying for. 30% of businesses said that they wanted more help around basic functional skills for recruits to their businesses. And 60% of businesses took over 3 months to fill. So this is a snapshot of the current situation. Another part of the work has been to break down against the 7 key sectors what priorities there are and what skills and occupations both now and in the future are in demand. With active engagement by employers right across GM, we can identify what needs doing and ways to ensure that there is effective participation from business in meeting these challenges. These 7 sectors are crucial for the continued growth and development of the economy in GM. And on the slide here, you can see the 15 IFATE occupational routes. We are looking to simplify these for GM, and we're really happy that IFATE are working in partnership with us. Let's just look specifically now at digital skills. So as an example of the type of outlook needed to address these shortcomings, the issue of digital skills is one that impacts right across a range of sectors and at all levels as more job roles and occupations change and adapt to new ways of working. What we can see here is that basic IT skills are required at every level, in every sector, through to coding and software development. We've heard from our businesses surveyed that young people are unable to use basic office software. Specifically in relation to health and social care, one of the 7 sectors, workers there are increasingly required to use mobile devices as part of their roles, so digital skills are so important. In advanced manufacturing, the increasing use of new technology and methods, more automation and use of sensors to monitor production, again showing the level of digital skills required in that sector. And similarly in construction, methods and incorporation of net zero, monitoring carbon footprints, demand for energy consultants all require digital skills. And of course, we have both the opportunity and the challenge of the increasing use and adoption of AI. So what we're hearing about digital skills is that there are gaps in basic skills, but there is a depth of digital skill required across many sectors also. We've seen a steady reduction for a variety of reasons over the years in employers upskilling their workforce. For many, skills issues are something synonymous with new recruits. But skills shortages affect employees at every level, and we must be prepared to work harder in making sure we bring everyone along with us. Skills are fundamental for business and for communities. It isn't just enough to have a skilled workforce. We must also ensure that employers have access to people when the workforce needs to grow. And in turn, make sure all people can get access to those jobs, bringing with it the benefit of secure and well-paid employment. All core tenets of the GM Good Employment Charter. This isn't just about upskilling young people or employees, it's also about giving everyone an opportunity, which feeds into one of my other themes as president around equality, diversity and inclusion, an issue which is a passion of mine. Without this, we are not a genuine community. And whilst things are improving, they can be a whole lot better. It's also essential that we continue to work on green issues in business and in skills. Indeed, in the local skills improvement plan, sustainability is another key theme, with a focus on sustainability as part of people's jobs in GM, and importantly, creating the opportunity for new green jobs. In my 10 years of working with the Chamber, I've seen many changes, and even more over 30 years in legal services businesses and more recently in higher education. At the Chamber back in 2014, I chaired a new initiative to introduce legal services or paralegal apprenticeships across Greater Manchester. When I was practicing law, I saw many changes in professional services, such as the advent of AI. More recently, and since I joined higher education, I've seen the changes such as opportunities technology offers in education. And I've gained a deeper insight into what's really important to young people who are learning today. So, with businesses playing a bigger role in not just creating new skilled jobs, but helping deliver the skills necessary to support them, our ambition to be a better city region, a better community and a better place has never been better.
Thank you very much for that, Emma. A really interesting insight into the challenge, but also the opportunity we now have to try and change, firstly, some of those statistics and help some of our businesses at the same time as helping many of our residents. So our thanks to Emma and the work she does. But of course, our thanks to other people in the Chamber world and sphere of influence, in particular Clive Memmott, who's with us here as well, who has been a real champion of this over many years. And it's great to see so many people in the room as well from our business community and the Chamber coming along and supporting this. You mentioned, Emma, that two equal routes. You know, we're going to hear a lot about that because that is the simple but quite radical idea that we're talking about. Two equal routes, opportunity for everybody, you know, simple but quite radical and something that we're all passionate to deliver on. You mentioned that skills really runs right through the ages, and our view on skills is that you're never too old to, you know, develop and learn your skills, but clearly we've got to try and support getting this right as early as possible in young people's lives. And so we're going to hear now from some of our Greater Manchester young people about their experiences on this topic. And so we're just going to have a quick short video just introducing some of the themes that we are going to be picking up throughout the rest of the session. So hopefully we will now be able to see that video.
Around 33,000 young people pass through Greater Manchester's education system each year. For many, their path is clear and well understood: GCSEs, A-levels, and onto university with good prospects. However, the university path isn't for everyone. We need a system that provides young people with choices and provides businesses with the future workforce they need. But the alternative journey through technical education can be tangled and confusing, putting 16,000 young people in Greater Manchester on the back foot, unsure about what their future holds and what their options are. We've spoken to 3 young people in Greater Manchester about their experiences in navigating the complex pathways through technical education and training.
I got some information on the options, like what we would be doing for the course, but with the potential jobs, we didn't really get advised on that, and it made me struggle a lot after high school.
We had like an induction day of like colleges and stuff and opportunities that you could do, but not really employers and stuff like that. There wasn't like a major range of opportunities.
With school, they kind of just said, you're on the route to doing this, you should do these, and they kind of forced me into them lessons as well.
It was really difficult to navigate my future after I left school because I was, again, completely left in the dark. I had no support from anyone.
To be honest, I didn't even know what an A-level was. I didn't know anything to do with A-levels, T-levels. I knew what an apprenticeship was, but I didn't know all of these different things. But when I actually found out what an A-level was, I really didn't want to do it. So I kind of wanted to go down the creative side that didn't include a lot of writing and exams, because I crack under pressure.
And until I met Deanie, I wasn't even aware that I could get into colleges without any GCSEs, let alone build up those qualifications later on.
We had certain people come in, and in our forms we got asked who wants to be a lawyer, who wants to be part of the police and stuff like that. And we had a talk for one dinner, and that was it. And it wasn't the best, it was quite boring. Yeah.
Someone give me advice on people that can help me get into college and pick what courses I want to do and figure out what I wanted to do. And that's why I was grateful when I met Deanie, and she helped me get into college basically, because I was really nervous, and it was quite a big step to say that I was working from home for 3 years during lockdown, so it was a big step into the big outdoors, to be honest.
More like lessons on what A-levels, T-levels are, and not being pushed to do something that you don't want to do, letting the person decide for themselves, but still giving them some form of help towards it.
I think there should be systems put in place where children and young people can more easily reach out themselves and find options and figure out what they can and can't do and how to do those things, so we're not so confused and feeling like we have no options.
In Greater Manchester, we want to fix the fragmented system, putting technical education on an equal footing with university education and clearing the path for those choosing to take a different route to work within the Greater Manchester economy. 2 routes, 2 clear pathways, providing good prospects and good jobs for all.
So I think that summarises it particularly well, and always hearing from our young people directly just goes to show that for all of the systems and all of the things that we think exist, too many people fall through the net. Too many people don't feel like we're speaking to their aspirations, their hopes, their dreams, and that's what this is going to try and change. So I'm going to hand now over to our Mayor to talk about what this vision for Greater Manchester will mean for our city region. So without any further ado, Andy.
Cheers, then. It's like a head teacher introducing his new supply teacher. We're given the standards that you have, Eamon. But you've done a fantastic job in setting up the discussion today. And thanks, everybody, for being here. As Eamon said, this is the start of a conversation, and you're a big part of that conversation. Everybody in the room, colleagues who work in education, obviously in business, colleagues in the media, and we're going to need your help to get the debate going about all of this. This is our sort of first kind of go at this, and we want to work over the coming months with colleagues in government as well to say, well, look, what can we get to here together to make sure we can achieve that goal of a clear path in life for all young people growing up in Greater Manchester, as Eamon, Emma and others have so eloquently already said this morning. To put it in a little bit of wider context, we were actually in this room 4 years ago when the concept of the B network was born. And if you think about that and where we are now with the B network, you know, this is an integrated London-style transport system that will hit our streets in September. You can see how making change in the way we do in Greater Manchester is good, isn't it? Because we involve everybody, we build it from the bottom up. And the context here is I want to do exactly the same. That day, we put forward a sort of a concept of a tube map for Greater Manchester, and it was promptly labelled the Death Star. And we're not going to show you Death Star 2. I think we've learned from that today. We've got something slightly simpler. But it is about a concept, isn't it? And then a journey towards it. And it changed a lot, actually, the B network, as we went on that journey. And I expect the same to happen with the proposals that we're about to show you. But it is all about building consensus. And if we can get to a point later this year where we do all agree, then, wow, what a difference that could make, as Eamon said, for so many businesses, but more importantly, young lives growing up in Greater Manchester. And it's honestly quite hard, isn't it, to listen to that video and not think that something different needs to be done. So I'm going to take you through a number of slides. I do want to echo our thanks to Clive, Emma and everybody at the Greater Manchester Chamber of Commerce, who has really helped lay out the challenge for us with the work that's been done on the local skills improvement plan. And you spoke brilliantly there, Emma. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. What I will do is if you like, start to take you through what's good in the system that we've got, but then say what needs also to be added to make it work for everybody. But rather than hear from me, how about hear from our newly crowned king, who has probably said this better than anybody. I think this comes from an episode of The Repair Shop. But I know that when he said it, a lot of people, there were lots of nods around the country. And I think it's just worth saying, you know, this goes beyond party politics. This kind of feeling that's articulated there, I think, is amongst voters of all colours, people in all parts of the country. I think this speaks to a sort of deep concern that is there. And actually, this country has long tried to fix, actually. We were made aware of a royal commission back in 1884 that came to Manchester. It was on the importance of technical training in England, and the lack of it was said to be one of the biggest problems facing our economy. Yeah, we've been going at this a long time, and we've never got to anything that resembles what other countries do so well, particularly Germany. So, you know, if we're not going to fix it now, when are we going to fix it? So come on, everyone, let's get this sorted out. So let me move on to something that everybody will be familiar with. There is the university route laid out with its clear stages. And let me say, I'm not doing it down in any way at all today. I went to university from this part of England in the late 1980s, and you know, I wouldn't wish anybody not to have that opportunity. I want it for as many people that want it. And one of the good things about the way policy is developed under all governments is it's really clear, isn't it? I think people largely do know what is needed. They're guided towards those EBAC subjects at 14. If you look on the government website, it says that these are the subjects that will give people the best chance of a good degree place. So that is how the school system is being, in many ways, it's being judged on the extent to which they're preparing young people for degrees. And young people can start to see then that path ahead, because they'll start thinking as they're doing their GCSEs about their A-level choices, and they can use tools like UCAS and obviously people within their colleges to say, well, what combination of A-levels will get me towards a degree in this or that, and they start to and they can see the grades that the universities want. They've got visibility, and that's a great thing, isn't it? So just to be absolutely clear, none of this today should be seen as talking down the university route, nor our wonderful 5 universities in Greater Manchester, whom we work with so closely, and actually themselves are a combination of academic and technical. I'll be going to Salford University later today, formally to open the Institute of Technology. And it's interesting actually that we're bringing to the city region a new body that can kind of work with the colleges, and we're going to hear from Anna in a minute, to really pull that whole system together, a highly collaborative system between our FE providers, HE providers. This is great, and actually the universities already work in a way that sees 2 routes, and 2 routes that can intertwine at times, and people can jump from one to another. So we've already got a fantastic foundation to work with there. If you just consider that university route for 1 second more, look at the EBAC stage. At present in Greater Manchester, 36% of our young people are attaining the EBAC. Now, some of them may take it and not achieve it. Some may not take it at all. So the 64% will be a mix of people, but it's still 64% of people. And it's actually the case that the same percentage go on to degree. So 36% of young people in Greater Manchester are currently progressing to a degree. Now, that's good for those 36% of people. The question that we've all got to consider as we go into this conversation is, what about the 64%? What are we saying to that 64%? Are we doing enough to help those thousands of young people across Greater Manchester find their way in life, find their way to this amazing city and all of the good jobs that are here? I don't believe we are. And, we can have this discussion as we go forward, but I would be surprised if many people in the room think that we are. Consequently, we all need to start to seriously address how we change that. I mean, again, this is not to do down what is being done. There is fantastic work going on in our schools, and we're going to hear from James shortly, who will talk about that, no doubt. Great people trying to help young people find their path. In our colleges as well, the career and enterprise advisors we have out across the Greater Manchester system, all doing great work, but I would say not let down because of what they're doing, more let down by the lack of a system that they can point people towards, and therefore their efforts can't be maximised at the moment because they're kind of working in what I would say is a confusing, fragmented system. And that's what's got to change. So, as Eamon said, at the heart of our proposals, 2 clear, equal routes. That is the concept upon which we build. 1 academic, 1 technical. The objective, a clear path in life for all young people growing up in Greater Manchester. And I stress all young people growing up in Greater Manchester, young people with disabilities given a supported path if necessary to the opportunity that's right for them, a path for everybody, as Eamon said. We will never compromise on that. That is what we believe is needed for our city region to continue to make the progress it's been making in recent times. So, what then do we do to put that second path in place? So it starts with the Greater Manchester Baccalaureate. If the English Baccalaureate is there to maximise people's chances of a good degree place, then the Greater Manchester Baccalaureate, or MBAC, should exist to maximise young people's chances of a good job in the Greater Manchester economy. That is and would be its purpose, to steer young people towards good technical qualifications and the good jobs that lie beyond them. The second part of this would be to use the MBAC to guide young people, as Emma was saying before, to the areas of the Greater Manchester economy that have the most plentiful source of future-facing good jobs, so that we're not sending anybody here up a path that has a dead end at the end of it. We're guiding people towards paths that Clive knows, that Emma knows, that the businesses in the room know have got huge potential. They've got great opportunities, well-paid jobs. You know, what we're trying to do is guide people towards something that will take them somewhere in life, so that they can have a sense of purpose at school, a kind of sense of direction in terms of where they're going, which you kind of heard in the video, some young people don't have at the moment. So just as students choosing A-levels, you know, are helped at this point in time to find the A-levels that will get them in the best position, so our gateways that we will talk about in a moment will guide people to the T-levels, BTECs, and apprenticeships and other qualifications that will help them in a similar way. And then, of course, that is the end point that we would want people to move towards. Higher level qualifications, technical qualifications, degree apprenticeships. We know the range of things that are available there. Two equal paths. Some might say this might be an even better path, because you can actually get a degree on this path but not have any debt at the end of that journey. So that is an important consideration, is it not, for people? This path isn't taking you to a lesser place, as sometimes young people might perceive it to be. You know, it's kind of an end point that's not as good as the other path. The end point can be the same destination, but just a different experience, and possibly for some young people, a better position that they might find themselves in at the end. So, you know, let's just be really clear here. This is about equivalence. So that's why it's the MBAC. We've got to mirror the EBAC. That's an existing qualification. That's why the name is important. It mirrors what's already there and it conveys equivalence. That's why it's T-levels to mirror A-levels. You know, we're happy to work with the government to see if here we can make T-levels work. I know that at the early stages there'll be some teething problems with T-levels. So let's really get working together on it and work out what we can do together to sort of, you know, knock them into shape really and make them work for everybody, the young people and the employers. And obviously we're going to need employer placements as part of those T-levels. So we're going to have a devolved approach to this, otherwise T-levels won't work. So that's why what we're saying today makes a good deal of sense. And yeah, then you can see that route is clear and it's laid out. Shall I go into some of the detail that would kind of underpin what we're saying here? So if we just consider the concept of the MBAC for a moment, this is not, as I say, to decry the EBAC in any way. You know, the EBAC as it stands is a good thing per se. The problem is not it. It's the lack of something else to mirror it, given, as I said before, that 64% of young people in Greater Manchester currently don't want to do it or don't achieve it or for whatever reason aren't interested in it. So what we're proposing here today, and it is proposing, is a combination of subjects that might prepare people better for the technical route and the route that ends in work. So absolutely no compromise, English and maths. This is not dumbing down in any way, shape or form. You know, that has to be at the core of a good education, and we agree with the government and others who insist on that. Of course, we should insist on that. But you will see that we've added, you know, those are the 2 compulsory subjects in the current EBAC. But you will see we've added a third. A technology qualification, computer science, GCSE or another ICT qualification. I think there is some concern that they are not currently engaging enough, that they're not work-focused enough, and perhaps there is some work to be done to get them more in the right space. So not necessarily pinning my hat today on the precise curriculum here, but the principle that all young people should be given a digital education, or certainly young people who see themselves progressing more quickly to the world of work, they definitely should be given a clear message actually at 14 that digital literacy is really important. And Emma's slide, I think, completely brought that through. Currently, computer science is optional, a choice within the EBAC. We think as part of preparing young people for the technical path, it should be the guide we should be giving them is that this is essential. Now, you then could pick out the subjects that could be added to that core. Engineering, a good GCSE, not in the EBAC, but we would say with our ambitions around advanced manufacturing, advanced materials in Greater Manchester, Atom Valley, the huge campus we seek to create in the northeast of Greater Manchester. Obviously, this is an engineering city region. We should be saying that is a good qualification that can really help you get towards good and well-paid jobs. The second bit matters hugely to me, and obviously we're in a place that embodies the cultural and creative economy importance of Greater Manchester. This is a creative city region. We are leaders in the creative industries. We have a thriving cultural and creative scene. And in fact, businesses outside of what you would call the cultural economy need creative skills to create the content that promotes businesses to the wider world. And I think it is a problem that the EBAC doesn't recognise the importance of creative subjects. Some young people are absolutely passionate about those things, and I think one of them was in the video. That is their talent. That is what they're good at. That's where they feel confident when they go into school, when they're in that lesson on music or drama or art and design. That's when they feel at their best. That's when they kind of feel, yeah, I'm as good as anybody in this classroom. I'm confident about my creative talent. So why do we allow that not to speak itself and not somehow kind of push it away? It's the same with sport. The day that some young people are going to school with their boots in their bag is the day that they have some hope in their heart, because they think, finally, I can show everyone else that I've got talent that is as good, if not better than everybody else in the school. And I'm a complete believer that we've got to allow those talents to have their place and those passions to have their place and not be sidelined in some way as though they're lesser. These are second-class students who've got their primary skill in those things. Intelligence comes in many, many forms. It's academic, it's technical, it's artistic, it's emotional intelligence, and obviously this concept is about that, recognising talent and passion and intelligence in its many different forms. And the creative part of this, for me, is fundamentally important, given that we are sitting today at the heart of a creative city region. And obviously you've got subjects there that are the EBAC subjects. Again, it's not about pushing the EBAC away. Young people might want to do some of the 5, 6, 7 of the EBAC subjects and then top up with the creative subjects. So those, we would say, would be the ones that we would really steer people towards. And then for discussion, you can see what else we've put up there. And there may be others not up there that you think should be included. But that's the kind of discussion we want to have with you. The only caveat I would put on all of this is, if Emma, Clive and all the businesses in the room say, well, you're putting that one in there, but we don't think that's the right one, then I think that's when we would be doing young people a disservice. If it was a politician sort of, oh, I like that, therefore it's in. Well, that's not good enough, I don't think. This has to be, you know, based on what employers are calling for. So, as Emma said, you know, we have done work with colleagues at the Chamber and with the Institute for Apprenticeships and Technical Education, and we are tremendously grateful for their support in getting us to this point. So the reason why this is a Greater Manchester Baccalaureate, or an MBAC, is because it truly is locked on to the real needs of the Greater Manchester economy. It's not sending people up blind alleys, as I said before. These are paths that lead somewhere. They go to good jobs. And you can see the sectors that we've outlined there and the current state of play with regard to the qualifications that support them. We do want T-levels to be at the heart of this. We do want to make them work for young people and businesses here. But obviously there is work to do, and this is where we think we can do a real service for the government and the Department for Education, because we can kind of really kind of road test them with them and build them. But this is not exclusive about T-levels. Let me just also make that clear. You know, BTECs have their place. Other qualifications have their place. The point is those qualifications will mean more when they are in a path that's going somewhere. And sometimes at the moment they're provided, but young people don't fully know where it's leading them. Again, as we heard in the video, to be discussed. But you know, these are not random kind of areas of the economy that we've put up in front of you today. These are the ones supported by evidence that have got the most supply of good jobs. And I believe it's not beyond Greater Manchester to come up with enough places across those areas that do give that path to everybody. That should be our mission here, shouldn't it? Enough, not just how many can we achieve, our mission together should be enough to give everybody a path, a supported path for young people who will need one. That should be our mission, and that's for me non-negotiable. So those are our 16 pathways, age 16 pathways that the MBAC has steered people towards, and as you will see, supported by GMAX. So UCAS does a great job, doesn't it, for those on the university route. GMAX, which is already an existing system, which is a single portal into the world of technical education and the world of work for young people in Greater Manchester. We now want to kind of work with you to refresh this, get this right. It could be an application system for T-levels with the work placements attached. So young people could say, oh, do you know what? I live in Wigan, but I can see a really good T-level at, I don't know, a college in Bury College, Eamon, or wherever. I'm guaranteeing today that they will have that R-Pass going forward. Myself and Eamon and all the leaders, they will have that free bus travel. That is guaranteed going forward. Because if Anna and the colleges start to specialise in this system around some of those gateways, that's no bad thing, is it? It's no bad thing at all as far as I'm concerned. If Wigan and Leigh College is a bigger player in construction and green economy, or in culture and creative and sport, financial and professional, that's fine if the colleges want to specialise on one or two of those gateways, or three. The point is, it's fine if you've got young people with the ability to get to those places, and we are guaranteeing that as part of this. The R-Pass will be permanent and will support people to get to the opportunities that they want. So you get then to the places that people can go at the end of this path, and there are many jobs out in our economy paid at that level in those type of roles. And actually, our success as a digital and tech economy, we are the fastest growing digital and tech hub in Europe. Will we stay in that position if we don't fix this? Well, I don't think I could say as mayor that we will. You know, we can't be complacent. We have to build that talent pipeline into our digital and tech sector. And we need to get on with it now. We cannot delay, otherwise we will put ourselves at risk. And that really kind of is what this is all about. It's about continuing to build Greater Manchester as the success story it is today, but we know it can be even better. It can be even stronger. I think that was my last slide, and I will leave it there. This, as I say, is to start the conversation, but actually we want to move it forward quickly with you and get to a point where the bones of this can be in place for September 2024, the start of that academic year. And then through those years, 25, 26, 27, 28, up to 2030, we then have in place that integrated system, 2 clear paths, a path for every young person in Greater Manchester. And I hope we can achieve that. I don't see any reason why we can't. I think this is good for us, obviously, but it's good for the government as well, in that we will make the technical path that they're trying to make work, we will help them make it work. Why am I so passionate about this? Well, because I graduated and came back to this city in the early 90s, and I tried to get a job here, and I couldn't find one. There wasn't anything here at that time. And for my generation of people, to get on in life, you had to go south. That was our reality. That's what I did when I was in my 20s, even though I wanted to stay here. We're not in that position now, thanks to the people who've gone before me, who've built this city into what it is. It's an amazing success story. There are jobs here now that I couldn't, the 20-year-old me could not have imagined would be here, not just in the city, but at Media City, in all of the amazing places across Greater Manchester. And that is a massive change that we've got to make the most of. It's still the case in Britain that the postcode of the bed you are born in pretty much determines where you end up in life. And if I exist in politics to do anything, it's to challenge that and to change that and to give everyone a chance to be everything they can be and to be who they are, true to their passions and their talents. And that's what the MBAC is all about. You know, if you think of the development of Greater Manchester in recent times, my time was when everything was getting closed and going. The sort of time that came after, from the mid-90s on to, let's say, to the end of the, or start of the 2020s, was a time when big organisations came here that we hadn't seen before, and they brought people from other places to here, and that's great, and we've welcomed all those people in. So what's the next chapter in Greater Manchester's development? The next chapter is when every single person growing up in one of our 10 boroughs can see a path for themselves to this place and this city and a job here, and everyone growing up here feels that they are part of it, that they've got a contribution to make and a role to play in the growing success story of Greater Manchester. We have 10 boroughs in this city region that are teeming with talent, but are we capturing all of that talent at the moment? No, we are not. And that is why we must give them all that clear path. That is what this is seeking to do. We would be really grateful if you may not agree with everything that I've said today. You may have different views, but that's fine. We're about to have a conversation. But if you agree with enough of what we're saying, please engage and show your support for what we're doing. As Eamon said at the start, we think this is a reform that Greater Manchester urgently needs, but one that the country does too. Thank you very much indeed for listening.
Amazing, thank you, Andy. We're going to, in case that wasn't clear enough, we're going to show a small animation as well, just to pull all of those threads into something that I think is easily shareable, easily understood. But I think Andy has really articulately outlined not just the why we're doing this, but the level of detail that we're already starting to think about what this could look like. Not because we've come up with it in a room alone, but we've done it together in partnership, and the conversation is expanding that partnership, it's expanding that work that's already started, as you can see. Hopefully now this animation will pull all of that together and give you, if it's not clear enough already, that clearer sense of what this could be.
Young people aged 14 to 18 have 2 paths for the future. One route is from school to university, and the other is from school, technical education, and the world of work in the Greater Manchester economy. For those going to university, the path is clear, but for those seeking technical education opportunities, it's not so clear. We want all young people to have clear and equal pathways, and that means we need to stop the confusion on how to get to technical education and into work. With our new Trailblazer Devolution deal, we want to be bold and ambitious, creating a clear path for young people not on the university route. That means we will have 2 clear and equal paths, one for university and one for technical education and into the world of work. We're going to help young people who do not want to go to university from school to training. So, alongside the English Baccalaureate or EBAC for those on the university route, we want to create the Manchester Baccalaureate or MBAC, giving our Year 9 students a set of subjects which Greater Manchester employers value most. At 14, young people will be able to take the MBAC pathway of GCSE options, plus additional opportunities that will provide them with the skills they'll need to thrive in our city region. At 16, alongside A-levels, we want to create thousands more T-levels in the areas that our Greater Manchester economy needs most, alongside BTECs and other qualifications. And at 18, alongside degrees, we want to give people the option of more high-quality work-related courses, such as Level 3 apprenticeships, degree apprenticeships, and other higher technical qualifications. By doing this, we will give all people growing up in Greater Manchester the same clear and equal paths, opportunities in life, and achieve our goal of good lives for all.
Great. I hope that's clear now. You can't say it any clearer than that. So if you leave this room and you don't know what it's about, I think that's on you. You know, look, you can see the excitement, I think, around this, because you see the passion. I said earlier, it's a simple idea, but it is going to be quite radical, and it's not going to be easy to do. We're going to need partners, and I'm going to hand over now to some representatives of our partners, but key individuals who are doing every day something to contribute to this new vision. And they've done a huge amount already. So we've got James, Anna and Mo, representatives from education, business, the digital world, to just give a little sense of, from their perspective, how this can be part of that partnership in how we deliver this. So if I ask, I think James, you're up first, and then Anna and then Mo. James.
So welcome, I'm James Eldon. I'm the principal at Manchester Academy in Moss Side. And this really speaks to us because I started at the school 5 years ago, and one of the first aims I had was to raise EBAC. So as Anna just said, the academic route. So I met with my senior team and we talked a lot about how we would get the teachers, the structures, and then the options process right for EBAC. And we all got excited, we did that right. And then the next question I asked was, and so what about everybody else? And my senior team sort of looked at me and said, well, they just won't be doing EBAC. And I said, oh, that's a great sell for the parents even and for options, isn't it? So everybody who's coming in for the EBAC route, if you just like to sit here, everybody else who's not doing EBAC, you can go somewhere else. And that's a pervasive sort of problem at the moment within secondary, that an options process for EBAC students is quite clear. The next steps are always delineated. And actually, that's a massive certainty in very uncertain times. So as the job market, as AI, everything explodes, and we all feel very anxious about what that will mean for young people, the certainty of A-levels and university is a real comfort blanket, not just for teachers, head teachers and parents, but for the children themselves. But as Andy's articulated, that's only a small amount of students. So then we got together and we actually called our other route the MBAC. I wish I'd copyrighted that now, Andy. That would have been, it might have been useful. And so immediately when parents came in, we were saying, oh, because we're Manchester, you're an MBAC student. Okay, we're going to do this and then do this. And then you're an EBAC student. And I did the MBAC presentations. And then it was really hard because again, if you're doing the EBAC presentation, you can start putting alumni up, people who've gone off to university. And in MBAC, just the narration for families of, you do this and then you net to this, was really quite messy. And T-levels then came in and actually made that a lot more clear because it became technical. And there's a whole sort of snobbery around vocational, but technical, if you look at many of our European partners, has a reputation and an esteem, which I think is really valuable. So then that's the process we have in place. And actually now the difference between the two pathways is quite slight, really. It's actually just a foreign language. But the esteem that is given to the other pathway has been great. So now to have that valued across a region and narrated across a sector and across businesses and everyone, for all those students that didn't sit there and hear about, the next steps to university because they didn't want to go or it wasn't right, suddenly they're valued, and actually some of the attractions of that route are higher. Andy mentioned the student debt and those things through. And it's a huge challenge for the school sector at the moment because we're all really terrified by how quickly things are moving. So a few years ago, I had a girl come to see me and ask me some questions about which course to go on. She was thinking of doing hairdressing or an administrative course. And I was there, and I won't even pretend, there was a slight snobbery for me, because the administrative course she seemed to be doing. And I said, well, that sounds quite an interesting piece. And I didn't really explore the hairdressing course. Later on that same evening, I went to an event in Manchester by a futurologist. I love that title. I was kind of hoping it was be a bit Star Warsy, but it was actually just a professor talk. And then he said in the actual talk, never talk a student out of doing hairdressing because it's very unlikely a robot will ever be able to cut human hair. So I kind of raced back the next day and sort of had an apology note. And it's that, there's still in that technical snobbery. Even for myself, that sense of, oh, this sounds a bit more like traditional and safe. But that stuff's gone. And many of the EBAC routes, law, accountancy, etc., are all going to be heavily changed by AI. This morning I read something about law firms not billing by the hour anymore because actually you can do so much work on AI quite quickly that concept's almost fallen apart. So that's probably going to lead to changes in that industry. So even those really reputable EBAC style pathways are going through huge turbulence. So I'm really proud that for our children, there's now not that snobbery. There's not now that delineation. And there's an ambition, but also an inclusiveness about that, which I think is a mark of Manchester, Greater Manchester, and also something that is going to be crucial because jobs for life, jobs for weeks, jobs for months, jobs on your phone. One of my students the other day was trying to explain to me about, I thought I was really clever because we went away as a family and I used Revolut to stop paying on my bank charges on my phone. He said to me, oh, so yeah, you can do stocks and shares traded on Revolut. It's really good. You don't have to spend much. And I was like, there's me on yard duty in a high-vis coat listening to a 16-year-old explain to me that Revolut does stocks. And I thought, you don't need to go to university. You just need to, you'll probably buy a university by the time you finish. But it's also a myth that COVID exposed that all young people are in that space. Lots of our young people don't use their phones that way. They're not technically savvy. They love social media. They watch some funny things. They have that, but they're not. Their phone, they don't quite understand that digital space beyond that. So COVID exposed this, that when we had to learn online, actually some of the students found Office Suite and those sorts of things quite alien. So again, it's a fantastic time, I think, to have this conversation. It's such a necessary conversation. And for schools, it's going to be so welcome because on that option evening now, we've got the wealth of the mayor and of yourselves behind us saying that you're involved and you're involved. And both journeys will be exciting and difficult and hard work, but both will be valued and successful. So I think it's an amazing step. And I'm going to hand over now to Anna from Wigan and Lee College to talk about that.
Thank you, James, and good morning, everybody. My name's Anna Dorr. I'm the principal at Wigan and Lee College, a further education college, but I'm also the chair of the Greater Manchester Colleges Partnership, which represents 10 further education colleges across Greater Manchester. I find myself in a familiar position of taking over the baton from one of our school partners, and thanks, James, for explaining sort of the beginning of that journey. Because every year we have young people leaving our schools across Greater Manchester, and many of them will be entrusted to us in the further education sector, and they will come into our colleges to study technical education. There is one further education college in each of the 10 boroughs within Greater Manchester, so there is plenty of opportunity for those students. We actually collectively deliver to over 70,000 students each year, young people, adults doing technical education. We also deliver over 10,000 apprenticeships to the employment sector in key sectors every single year. But we want to be able to do even more, and we know that we should have even more young people accessing technical education. The majority of our students are studying at level 3, which is A-level equivalent, and they're in areas such as electrical engineering, civil engineering, mechanical engineering, cyber security and programming, construction trades, construction management, business studies, creative arts, and the integrated care sectors. That's just to name but a few. So you can see that the choice for our students is absolutely vast. And to some degree, that might be why people find it so confusing to navigate to a certain degree. We also know that the complexity of that landscape does not help our young people in terms of their choices. We heard earlier from Dan, from Chelsea, from Alethea, about what stopped them being able to navigate their way through. They either were not given the right information early enough, but most of all, they were not empowered to make their own decisions. We know that when young people genuinely see a line of sight to their ambitions, to their goals, to future careers, it inspires them, it lifts them up, and it motivates them. And what's more, it enables them to make choices to go into the very sectors that we really need across our economy here in Greater Manchester. The MBAC and all that we're talking about today will begin to create that significant change. It's not just the further education colleges in Greater Manchester that are delivering technical skills training. We are very lucky that we have a very wide range of independent training providers within Greater Manchester as well, who work collectively through the Greater Manchester Learning Provider Network. And they deliver apprenticeships across a wide range of sectors, working closely with employers. And as we've already mentioned, this evening we are opening the Greater Manchester Institute of Technology. And that is truly exciting because that is a facility dedicated to higher level technical skills, enabling our technical students to go all the way through to higher degree apprenticeships and higher technical qualifications. And again, it's what Manchester does best. It is a partnership of college providers, the University of Salford, but also employers. So Siemens, TalkTalk, GCHQ and Lang O'Rourke are supporting us in making sure that that facility really can work. What we've heard about today means that all those providers who are looking at the post-16 sector and beyond can begin to work in a coordinated direction, no longer in silos, but working collectively across the region to ensure that our messages, our advice, our support, and the work with our employers is all joined up and comes together, and we get that synergy, and we get that true Greater Manchester spirit that really does drive things forward. Each transition point, each gateway that we've raised today is always a risk. And we see some of our young people after Key Stage 4, 14 to 16, falling between the gaps before they get to their post-16 institution. Sometimes they'll leave their post-16 institution and fall down that gap then, when really what they could be doing is going on to higher level technical studies. We know that many of our young people in our colleges, across the further education colleges, our sixth form colleges who also deliver technical education, and our independent training providers, we know that many of those young people will come back throughout their lives as adults, in their working lives and in their employment, to upskill, retrain, and be able to develop the skills of tomorrow. And that again is through technical skills and technical education. So if they have that map, if they can see that line of sight and they can understand it, what the power of what we could actually unleash for them individually, but also within our economy and within our productivity, is incredibly exciting as to where we actually go with this. Employers are central, and each learner supported through careers education and with input from employers at every single stage of that journey will enrich an experience that I think will be truly unique to our region. I've been in further education now for over 25 years, and I feel a bit of a fraud saying that when people were doing this back in was it 1883? But throughout those 25 years, I really do feel that a big part of my job has been trying to explain to young people, to parents and carers, and to colleagues in the education sector about the importance of technical education. That it is an opportunity, it is a real pathway to real careers and a bright future, and it has equal parity. It is simply different and harnesses skills differently and offers a different opportunity for all. So for the 10 further education colleges in Greater Manchester, we very, very much welcome what we are hearing here today, and we really look forward to the challenge of working with partners to deliver the vision. Thank you.
So I'm just going to say just a few words, because far be it for me to be encouraging Andy to be more radical, because I know Whitehall sometimes don't take that kindly. But can I just say that I've got two perspectives. I'm a beneficiary as well as a provider into the system. I run tech hubs. I have a tech group. This year alone, I've employed 60 tech people into my organization, and my tech startups in my stable have recruited about 300. So I'm going to speak to the vision that Andy has said, because the economic imperative is serious. We are today a leading economy, but tomorrow we may not be. This is the reality, and my teams are working in the Middle East, and I was in South Korea. They are teaching Web3 in schools today. That's Web3, the metaverse that Web3. They're teaching it in the classroom. This is the global economy. This is the reality that we face in a competitive situation. So the thing is for us, I think, is not to fix the system, but to lead the system. It's not to unlock the potential, it's to unleash the potential. Because from an economic point of view, this is the imperative. And there was a slide that Andy showed about the job, type of job that people could earn, and the role that they can have at £50,000. Somebody in tech can become a mid-level person at £60,000 in 2 years from 18. There are dev teams that we work with. Many of you are parents, and how many of you know Roblox? Many. It's an expensive business. The developers being Roblox are Gen Z at 21 years of age. At 21, you are developing some of the biggest tech that the world is seeing. And that's the potential we have. These smartphones are incredibly powerful. This is the computer that took us to space, but it's in our hands. But without the apps, it's useless. We have the talent, but we don't have the apps. The aptitude is what it's about. It's a demand-led system. For too often, it's been supply side all the time, and the employer demand is now radically changing. And that's the real nub of this situation. Coming to the ground, and Andy spoke, and everybody's talked about the reality of the situation. I run one of the biggest tech hubs in Media City. Media City is an economic success. But with Salford Council, we did a survey of the young people around the area, Old Soul and some of that sort of surrounding area. those young people who were saying they can actually see the skyline of Media City. They don't just switch on BBC One. They could see it. Who believed that you had to buy a ticket to come to Media City. This is not for us. We have to buy permission to be here. There's 10,000 jobs we have at Media City alone. And in the next 5 years, we're looking to treble that. It is not acceptable for us to have young people who do not have visibility to that opportunity. And the real danger for today is that the previous industrial revolutions had physicality to them. There were factories, there were docks, there were railways. People could visually see the opportunity. The fourth, the fifth, the sixth is invisible. It's happening today, and we have not got a clue where it's happening. And it materializes where there is talent. It is attracted where there is infrastructure of skills. So today for us, it's not about the social imperative alone, which is absolutely critical, but it's also for us to be able to be competitive, to attract that investment, the jobs that we need to future-proof our communities with, because we have developed the skills infrastructure properly. And the integration, I'll just give you an example of how integration really works. With my tech hubs, one of the things you learn in business is there's a problem you've got to fix it yourself. Because if you wait for it, it never happens. So I started into the digital skills boot camps 4 or 5 years ago in partnership with GMCA. Because I started my first business in '95 in Dale Street. I'm a beneficiary of the prosperity of Manchester. So we did skills boot camps. So the way we did skills boot camps was working in an integrated fashion with GMCA, starting with colleges at level 2. These are adults who are career changers, career breakers, for whom we gave a line of sight. Visibility of the job opportunity. Career break mums who'd spent 10 years at home, lost complete confidence in how they would go back into work, let alone go into tech. And we gave them visibility from the outset. These are the jobs available, and this is the route you should take to take it. From college to our boot camps to a degree apprenticeship even. And we have now succeeded. 700 of my interns have now got tech jobs. 60% are career breakers, 50% are women. That's results from an integrated model where there is line of sight. Employers will be ready to come up front and have that approach to understand 3 things we have to fix, and I'll fix from an employer point of view, and what this is talking to. We must widen the talent pool from an economic point of view. It's saturated. It's not sustainable. Businesses are having to leave our region to go elsewhere because they can't afford the salaries. They have to pay for devs that they can't recruit anymore. We have to widen the talent pool, and the talent pool is in those 10 authority areas, unlocking the aptitude, unlocking the passion, because it's true, as James has said, at 16 and 17, these guys can start to really make a career. It is no longer the case that you have to spend 10 years in a job to get to that. Democratization of opportunity is real in tech. I see it every day. Widen the talent pool. For as employers, we must do that to make sure we are diverse. Secondly, don't just base everything on qualification. Look at the talent. Look at the aptitude. Look at what this young person is capable of doing. If you judge somebody just based on their CV and their qualification, you will miss out on some phenomenal talent. So in my boot camps, they do 6 weeks of a project. Real live project. So successful that BAE Systems has patented those projects. These are people who are career breakers who never knew tech 6 weeks ago. That's talent. And the final one, which is the important one, understand that young people or that person. Learn their story, the challenges they've been through, the situations they come from, and if you understand the story, you can adapt your environment to meet their needs so that they can meet yours. That's what Andy's talking about. Let's adapt the system to meet the needs of our people, but also the global economy. So we are informed and we are demand-led, so we can compete and we can, for sure, future-proof. Because otherwise, guys, what we're doing is pricing our people out of prosperity. If we just remain as consumers and not creators, we will be priced out on that future. Well done to you, Andy. completely back you, 100%. Thank you.
Thank you, Mo. Thank you, James. Thank you, Anna. We're going to wrap up now, so there's not much more to say, but I think what you will hopefully all take away from today is that there is now that clear vision with a high level of ambition around it, a real commitment to partnership and the start of a conversation, the ability to shape our own future as a city region through this new way of working in technical education is enormous. Mo has articulately described that this isn't about the past, actually. This isn't about looking to the past and saying, well, we should have done it better back then. This is about the future and the opportunities that are here now, but will continue to grow if we get this right for generations to come in Greater Manchester. So this is an enormous opportunity, but we want you all to be part of it. So my thanks to everybody who is here today, helping us be part of that conversation, who will continue to be part of that over the coming year. My thanks to all the speakers and those who've articulated so passionately why this is going to make a difference. Our young people as well for the contribution they've made. She's not been mentioned yet today, but I do want to thank Gemma Marsh, who is up there in the thing. If you give Gemma a round of applause, I think, as well. Because Gemma does a huge amount of work. Often on days like this, it seems like it's behind the scenes, but she's there right in the thick of it, front and centre, fighting for the fact that we've even got this in the first place. And I'm sure she'll continue to be that great champion for the whole of the skills system. And of course, thanks to Andy for leading this, making it such a priority. I you know, having worked with Andy, I see the challenges he has on. There's so many issues you can turn your hand to. There are so many demands on your time, so many people trying to get your attention. And it really takes a bit of discipline to try and just make sure you can pick those few but important issues. And I think what we're now seeing is on transport, on skills, on housing, a really clear sense of what devolution can be. And so it's not just about what Andy's delivering in Greater Manchester, but it's what mayors can deliver, what devolution can deliver, what partnerships can deliver through all of that. And I think Andy is blazing his own trail in showing the benefits of devolution, and it's great to have him leading so much of this discussion across not just our city region, but across the country and actually across the world, as you're now jet-setting in many places and even up to the Pope as well. So it is great to be here at this launch today. Please be part of the conversation going forward. Please share the word of what we're trying to do here. I think it is an exciting vision, but it's really a vision for the future of Greater Manchester, and we want everybody to be part of that. So thank you all very much. Please stay, please network, please talk to each other, but most importantly, continue to be part of the conversation as well. Thank you all.
Young people aged 14 to 18 have two paths for the future. One route is from school to university, and the other is from school, technical education, and the world of work in the Greater Manchester economy. For those going to university, the path is clear, but for those seeking technical education opportunities, it's not so clear. We want all young people to have clear and equal pathways, and that means we need to stop the confusion on how to get to technical education and into work. With our new Trailblazer Devolution deal, we want to be bold and ambitious, creating a clear path for young people not on the university route. That means we will have two clear and equal paths, one for university and one for technical education and into the world of work. We're going to help young people who do not want to go to university from school to training. So, alongside the English Baccalaureate or EBAC for those on the university route, we want to create the Manchester Baccalaureate or MBAC, giving our Year 9 students a set of subjects which Greater Manchester employers value most. At 14, young people will be able to take the MBAC pathway of GCSE options, plus additional opportunities that will provide them with the skills they'll need to thrive in our city region. At 16, alongside A-levels, we want to create thousands more T-levels in the areas that our Greater Manchester economy needs most, alongside BTECs and other qualifications. And at 18, alongside degrees, we want to give people the option of more high-quality work-related courses, such as Level 3 apprenticeships, degree apprenticeships, and other higher technical qualifications. By doing this, we will give all people growing up in Greater Manchester the same clear and equal paths, opportunities in life, and achieve our goal of good lives for all.